Hi everyone, very good morning or good evening. This is Suresh. I have 10 years of experience into web application development using all the basic HTML, JavaScript, CSS, Adobe Flex, Cold Fusion, and also Node.js, AngularJS, Bootstrap. All these technology have I used. Okay, mostly I'm into developing exposing the REST APIs from a Node.js and also developing the hybrid applications. Hybrid, when I say hybrid applications, it works for even the normal browsers from your desktop. Also, it works on the tablet, Android base. Okay, that is all my experience. Okay, I think this is my sixth batch Node.js training classes. Okay, if you guys have any more questions, you can ask before I go into the technical details. Before I start the module 1, okay, we have some slide which tells you the exact overall objectives of this course. What are you guys are going to cover, learn in this course. So the objectives of this course, what exactly? We have targeted the basic learners of Node.js. Okay, since Node.js is very much demand in demand in the market. Okay, everybody is interested to learn. For them, okay, by the time the course completes, what are you going to learn it? Okay, basics of Node.js you need to understand. Since Node.js is a JavaScript based language, which is a platform like Java J2E or other .NET or whatever. So here we'll be starting with the basics of object oriented concepts in JavaScript. Okay, and also the modeling packaging. Okay, so if you go to a Java J2E, wherein we have a jar files. Okay, you develop your class files and create a jar file. That jar file you can add it to any project as a library. Okay, you can start using accessing the classes in that particular jar file. Same way here in Node.js, when you develop an application, you can develop a modularized application. When I say modularized application, a pieces of reusable modules. Okay, you can hook into the main application. So same way here we can develop a libraries and package them, and you can publish into the node registry. I'll repeat all these concepts, guys, don't worry. Okay, I'm just giving overall by the completion of this course what you are going to learn. Okay, you can create a packages, your own packages, and publish them into the registry, so that whoever wants that published package, they can start using it. Modules, since Node.js is a event driven programming. Okay, when I say event driven programming, uh, in Node.js, okay, all the since it is a single thread, Node.js is a single thread because it is a JavaScript is a single thread. So the application, the program execution happens in a single thread. It executes the program line by line, but operations are performed asynchronously. I will explain what was this asynchronously, how they works with the help of callbacks in JavaScript. Okay, here event driven programming is nothing but you will be defining your events, and when those events handlers will be executed or handled whenever an event being triggered. So why do we need this event driven programming? Okay, I will explain that in detail when you start learning the web server concept, or when you are start developing a chat based application using socket hour concepts. Streams, since this is a server-side coding, Node.js is a server-side platform wherein we are going to develop expose REST APIs. What are REST APIs? Okay, how you expose them, how do you write them? We'll decide. We'll learn in a module 5. So since these are REST APIs, we'll be sending a request, and that request will be processed on the Node.js level, and we'll get the response back. We'll send the response back to the client. So the request response is also a streams. You can use the concept streams in a file system also. When you want to interact with the file system, read some file, process some data, and send the data back to the client. So all these concepts will be covering in module 3. How many types of streams are there? How do you design a streaming application? How do you send the data with the streams? All those things. Module 4, network communications and web technologies in Node.js. How do you provide a communication between two systems using Node.js, TCP/IP server, or SSL, HTTP, HTTPS. All those concepts will be discussed in module 5, because we have to expose a web server wherein clients can access the data from this web server. Okay, Node.js web server or web application, whatever it may be. Module 5. So to build a web application, what do you need basically? Okay, you need some framework so that it makes your life so easy, and because of those standards available in those frameworks, okay, you can easily maintain the application. Okay, other developers can easily understand the code what you are doing, and it supports for agility also. Okay, so in module 5 we'll be using, since Node.js is a platform, we need some framework and some library support to make your productivity very faster. So to do this, we have a Express.js MVC framework. It's like, if you go to your struts in Java JTU, you call it as a struts. Same way here, we have a Express.js MVC framework, which helps for you to design your web application using that framework. Client side, what do you use it? On a client side, we use AngularJS. Here in Node.js, we will be using Express.js as a web framework. Using this Express.js web framework, we will be designing a web application. So when you design a web application, you also have a concept called routing mechanism. Okay, how do you define your routes? How do you create a service endpoints? All those things will be designed. And also you have a middleware concept. How do you implement OAuth? Okay, security mechanism, authorization and authentication. All those concepts will be covered in module 5. 6. Real-time communications. What is this real-time communications? If you want to implement a gaming application, if you want to implement a chat-based application, okay, creating a multiple rooms wherein you can make sure that multiple people are connected to the same chat group, and how do they send chat between the groups. All those things will be covering in module 6. Yeah. Okay, so I think Murali just joined. Murali is asking a question that what is the difference between AngularJS and Node.js? AngularJS is a client-side MVC framework. Okay, it is works on browser level, whereas Node.js is a platform. Okay, using n number of frameworks or libraries, you will be developing your application. The application can be, it's a combination of server side coding and combination of client side coding, but the client side coding will be rendered or started executing or works on the browser only. Is it clear, Murali? AngularJS is a JavaScript which works on the client side. That means on the browser or a mobile, or it can be any device. Okay. Node.js, remember, it's a platform like your Java, J2E, .NET, PHP, Cold Fusion, something like that. I wouldn't say PHP, Cold Fusion. Those are like application servers. Yeah, it is a server-side coding. It's a platform. Remember that it's a platform. On platform, what do? You can write whatever you want, like Java JTE. Okay, in Java JTE, what do you implement? If you want to write a basic remote method invocation, you start using some basics. MySQL Server usage, servlet JS piece, wherein you can write a web applications also. You can implement Hibernate ORM concept. You can implement struts-based application also. Everything is called Spring, Hibernate, all those things. Same way here also we could do all these things. Clear? Yeah. It is just not like only a framework or a library. It's a platform. Remember that, which executes on server side. I told you, you guys going forward, you guys need to remember one thing. So far, JavaScript is working on browser only, client side only. Okay, with the Node.js implementation, now JavaScript is executing on server side. Going forward, you guys can proudly say that yes, I am a developer. Okay, you can say full stack developer, wherein I can work on the client side technologies, wherein I can work on server side technology. I can also work for database, because with the help of Mongo database, writing a SQL's RDBMS concept completely wrapped up. Now it is like NoSQL, not only a SQL, you can do with object oriented concept implementation. So now you are a full stack developer. You yourself, without you need any help from a other Java J2E guy or a C# guys, you can develop a full stack application using database, server side coding, and client side applications. Clear? So JavaScript is started working on server also. Hope you guys are clear. If you have any more questions, just let me know. Module 7. Since I said it is a platform, okay, how do you make sure your application works very faster? How do you create a child process? When I say it is a platform, when you run a simple Node.js program using web server, it creates a process. You can go and cross check in the task manager, wherein you can see one process running for this particular program, or whenever you start the server or whatever it may be. So if since Node.js is a single thread, uh, it will execute the operations in a asynchronous manner. Even if you want to, since it is a single thread, obviously there is a performance hit. How do you make sure the application works very faster? Let us say an example of Amazon or Flipkart or IRCTC, whatever website. Thousands of millions of requests you will be receiving in a minute or in uh, you know 2 minutes. How do you make sure this your application is, suppose if your application developed using Node.js or AngularJS and deployed, and you are getting a request thousands of requests in a minute, how do you make sure that your application works very faster compared to the Java J2E technology? There are concept in Node.js, okay, wherein we can create a clustering or a load balancing without any dependency of deployment team. You can create a clustering multiple servers. That means scaling up your Node.js servers. Okay, and also you can create a child processes. That means if you feel that one job is going to, or some endpoint or some code, the piece of code is going to take more than 1 minute or 2 minutes, or you want to run some jobs at particular time period, what we do basically, we create a sub processes. Same way here we'll be creating a sub child processes and make sure that your application works very faster. Because see, even though it is a single thread, all the operations are performed asynchronously. Because of this child process concept, the main process means wherein you have a main piece of application code that will not be disturbed. The child process works as a separate worker threads. I will tell you, don't come confused right away. Everything will be covering in future day by day. And module 8, testing in Node.js. The main core responsibility of any developer is to perform unit testing. How do you perform a unit testing? You might need, if it is an AngularJS, you'll be using some Karma. Okay, if it is Java, you might be using JUnits or TestNG, something like that. But in Node.js, what are the tools available, or modules? I would say it's not a tool; it's a module. Like you can use, since it is a JavaScript, okay, you can use same that what do you call, mocha. Mocha is another module, and the chai you can use it. Okay, using this test driven development, you can perform a unit testing in Node.js. Okay, I will explain how to do perform unit testing in Node.js in module 8. Because nowadays it is a basic responsibility of a developer to deliver a quality code after performing the unit test cases, so that you can probably say that yes, I did my testing from my end. Now my module or my application, whatever I checked in, it is working without any issues. So whatever issues is there, that QA will take care of identifying the bugs. Module 9. So what do we do in module 9? In module 9, I'll walk you guys through a code wherein we have a project. That project has completely built using a full stack. When I say full stack, it is a combination of AngularJS, Bootstrap, jQuery on the client side. Middleware is Node.js, Express.js, okay, Mongo database on the backend side. So you can say that MEAN. People who are, so the last project, module 9, is completely built using MEAN concept. Mean, what is M stands for? Mongo database. E is Express JS. It is a MVC framework on Node.js. Okay, and A stands for AngularJS. N stands for Node.js. Okay, So using this full stack technology, there is a project already developed. That project I will explain, because you guys need to understand how completely we will build an application using this technology combination. Okay, so that you will get some idea, and we'll be using all the concepts whatever you learned in previous modules in module 9. Okay, that is all about the course objective. Guys, any questions before we move? Okay, so few more things. How the course works. We have a experience in structure. One second, guys. I think I got some question. Okay, I got a question from Shankara Krishna. Are we supposed to do project? No, you guys don't need to do any projects. Okay, we will just walk you through the code which was already developed for this particular project, so that you get some idea. Is that clear? Okay, so it is a live online class. Okay, in class questions, sometimes will be, actually this part is not covered in Node.js. This was covered in AngularJS course, wherein we will be having some quiz type of questions at each module level, but that is not added in the Node.js course. I already informed to the Edureka team. They are working on it. Survey feedback. Okay, once the module is completed, every day you can, after the class, what you guys need to do is you need to provide your survey, okay, about the class and the instructor. Also you can go and add the feedback. 24/7 support. If you guys have stuck up with something, yes, I hope you already have a support team mobile numbers or toll-free number, email also, wherein you can reach them at any time. They will be helping out if you have any issues, whether it is a technical issue or it can be a course related issue or whatever it may be. Class recording in LMS. I will show you the place wherein you can get the previous recorded session. Let us say, suppose today you couldn't attend the class. Okay, um, when the class started, automatically we'll be recording all these classes every day. The recorded class will be uploaded into LMS. What is LMS? Learning Management System. That is a Edureka's website. I will show you. Okay, wherein from there you can listen to the whatever the previous classes. Module wise assignment, that's what I told you. Questions and assignment part is missing in this Node.js course. I will rectify that from Edureka. They will add that very soon. Project work, as I said, and finally you will be getting one certificate once the course is completed. Okay, Gayatri sent a question. What is the advantage of having parent-child process in Node.js when there are same process already available? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, I'll repeat that in a module 6 or 7 whenever we do that. But high level, I'm going to give you an idea. Let us say you developed an application wherein it requires a process of executing some piece of code which takes more than 1 minute, kind of running a job. Okay, you have a list of patients available in one system that you need to dump into your staging area. That is what your job. Okay, before you query patients, what you need to do, it is very if you put the piece of code, the whatever the type taking process piece of code in a main application, okay, your application performance will go down, because that piece of code is taking some 2 minutes or something. Meanwhile you got 100 requests to your web server. What web server will do? Web server has to take those requests and process, but this guy is taking a time. The piece of code whatever you have put it is taking a time, and it is busy, the process is busy. So automatically what happens, the response time of the application is reduced. So instead of you doing like that, you know that because of this piece of code the other request should not be in queue. You understood, Gayatri? So to do that, to avoid that kind of scenarios, you can create a child process, and that child process will take care of processing that piece of code which is going to take longer time, and you are expecting only the response. Let's say you want to insert millions of patients record by running this job. Finally, you just need an output saying that yes, patients are inserted without any issue. and you just take that response and send back to the client. So to do this, what I'm saying is just create a child process, let the child process take care of running that, and meanwhile don't disturb the main process, so that main process has a time, okay, or memory to process the other pending requests which are in the queue. I will explain what is this event queue, event loop concept, how Node.js single thread works, okay, hi, all those things, then you will get an idea. Is that clear, Gayatri? Don't worry, we have examples how to do all those things. Okay, how do you create a child process? How do you run them? How do you provide a communication between child process and main process? Okay, okay. Shankaran has some doubts, I think. Okay, what he is asking is that this course contains 40 hours of practical work involving practical hands-on lab assignments and related real-world case studies. Okay, this practical work can be done at your own space. Okay, you will have access to 24/7 technical support. You can request for any assistance for any problem you might facing, or for any clarifications you may require during the course. Okay, now, at the end of the training, you will have to work on a project to solve a real world problem. You will receive a grade and verifiable certificate on the successful completion of this project. Okay, I hope your question is about the project, right? Yes. Okay. So if you go to the AngularJS, that's what I'm telling. I already communicated to the team about the quiz questions and assignment and the project. In AngularJS, I don't know how many of you are from AngularJS training, wherein we have already a assignment and what do you call quiz questions, in the sense, in a module you will be having 4 or 2 questions. Okay, that questions I will repeat and you guys are supposed to answer, kind of thing. At the end, same in AngularJS, we have a one project wherein I will just walk you through the code so that you guys get an idea. After that, one jQuery project is there that you guys are supposed to convert into AngularJS project, and based on that you get a certification. So here the certification project problem statement is not added yet. Okay, so that I already communicated, they are working on it. Okay. I got couple of questions. I think Murali is asking that do we cover AngularJS in this course? No, we don't cover AngularJS in this course, but in the project we have an AngularJS code. I will explain that. Okay, sure. You guys can send a message saying that Node.js course doesn't have a certification code. Please add that in the course so that you will get it end of this course. That is also works fine. You can send it to the support team. So as I said, LMS, right? You can go to the Edureka website. I'll just explain how to start using this LMS. I hope you all got credentials to log into the Edureka website. You have option to course, wherein when you click on that my course option, currently I enrolled in mastering Node.js and AngularJS courses. Okay, so you can just see list of courses you are also enrolled. If you click on go to course, you will be navigated to that course, wherein we have 3 tabs: get started, getting started. Okay, you can just see how this class course works, all those things. I think this is where you copied that point. Okay, you can see all the information related to the course. Okay, and software and hardware requirements for this particular Node.js application platform, guiding of your learning management system, how you can use LMS, this application. All those PDFs are available, you can just download it from there. Pre-recorded sessions, as I said just before, let us say today one of you missed the class and you want to listen to the class before you come to the next class. You want to cover whatever the missing topics. So what you can do is you can just go to the module wise in the pre-recorded classes, and you can access modularized wise recorded session. You just need to click on this button, say let us say today I missed it. You just need to click on play option. Automatically it will play a recorded session. Okay, that's it. And course content, So every module has a well-defined content. You can just click on a presentation option. You can see all the slides available, theoretical part. You can just go through that. Okay, this is all about the LMS. Let us say you want to join a class using LMS also. Once you go to that particular course, when you access the course, there is an option called join class. If you click on this, you will be directly joined to this class without having any meeting idea, all those things. Okay, if you are unable to log into Gmail account or something, your personal email ID, and not able to get the GoToMeeting link, you can just log into the LMS, okay, and click on this button, join my class. How do you come to this particular section? You just need to select course and go to that particular course, then you will have an option of joining the class. Is that clear? Okay. uh, let us say you have some problem, installation problem. You are unable to install Node.js on your local machine. What do? You need to create a support ticket, right? Support ticket. To create a support ticket, there is a button called support. Okay, if you click on that, you will get a support. You still have a problem, you don't know how to access a learning management system website. There is an option of creating a tool. Just click on that. It will explain each and every section what they are. Okay, that is all about the tool. And how do you create a support ticket, I will explain. So when you click on that support option, there is a toll-free number option. You can reach them at any time. India, if you are guys are from India, you can call on this mobile number. Select course. You can say mastering Node.js course, and subcategory. What do you call, installation related, general discussions, project assignment. Now you can say project assignment. Okay, Node.js course doesn't have a project, a certification project problem statement. Okay, okay, that's it. Let us say you want to attach some screenshot. How do you attach? You are installing Node.js, there is some error, okay, and you are not able to resolve that issue. What do? You take a screenshot of it, attach to this attached file, so that support team will try to reach out the technical team. Okay, they'll try to resolve your issues. Is that clear? You guys have any questions on creating a support ticket here? Let me know. Okay, so post a question. That's it. Your ticket got successfully sent to the support team. If you want to see list of tickets, how many you created, what is the status of that particular ticket, whether this is resolved or still in pending or it got cancelled, you can see it here. Okay, whatever the things which we just created, that will display here. Okay, I created so many, and you can just see whatever once you created. If the ticket got closed or completely resolved, you see a orange color icon with sorry, pending. If it is a pending, you see a orange colored one. All the status based. You can say all tickets, open status, pending, closed. Any questions, guys? Okay, if you are clear, I'll move to the next one. Okay, this is all about joining the class. Okay, I covered this topic also. Okay, so objectives of module 1. This is all about the objectives respect to this particular session. Understanding object oriented programming in JavaScript. Okay, so as I said, Node.js is a platform. We need to write a coding in JavaScript. So it is always a good idea to understand the basics concept of JavaScript. Understanding what is Node.js and how it works. Okay, before we start writing the code, first of all we need to understand what exactly is a Node.js, how it is working. Okay, what kind of technology internally it uses. Okay, what are the technologies involved. Okay, how does the core components develop? All those things we need to understand. The architecture of Node.js, all those things we have to understand. Work with command line interface. Yes, obviously you can write a simple Java class using a Notepad++, run it from a command line prompt. When you go and start developing a large application, we will not be developers will not be so much friendly with a command line prompt. So what they need is some tool where the plugin that makes their life so easy. Like we go to Eclipse, we add all those web application project. We create a project as a web dynamic project, so that wherein you can add your jar files, you can run the application, you can debug the application from Eclipse itself. You can see the log statement in the console. Same way here, if you want to develop an application in using Eclipse, yes, you can use any IDE. There is no restriction, guys. You can use Notepad++, you can use Eclipse, you can use whatever the IDE you are familiar with. You can use Dreamweaver also. Okay, that is all about. And we have a plugin called Node Eclipse. I think that plugin will help you to provide the API intelligence about the Node.js, how to run the Node.js project, how to create a Node.js project. All those things I will explain in the tomorrow session, because today we are going to deal with the command line interface and the basics only, and tomorrow I will start using Eclipse. Installing Node.js and npm. Okay, as I said, it is a platform. First of all, you need to have a basic uh, core API accessibility, right? To do that, first of all, you need to install Node.js and npm. What is npm? Node Package Manager. As I said, you can develop your package, you can publish your package, all those things, right? So here npm is the one who is going to help to do all these things. Node Package Manager. Why npm is required is I will tell you. Let us say you want to create a web server. The web server is going to deal with HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So you need a dependency. If you are a Java guy, what do? You do get download the jar file, like MySQL jar file or struts related jar files, and you start accessing that classes. Same way here, if you want to get the HTTP module as a dependency to your project, because you need to interact with the HTTP module, what do? Is we run a command called npm install, that I will explain in next few minutes, don't worry. That npm package manager is helping you to get the dependencies and add it to your project. From where do you get the dependencies? Npm registry. Okay, I will repeat these things again in next few minutes, don't worry. Work with Node.js package manager npm. What is npm? Okay, what kind of commands are available? How do you install? How do you uninstall? How do you update to the latest packages? Okay, all those things are available. Code your first Node.js program. We are going to write a simple program and see how they works in Node.js. How do you see the output? Where do you see the output? All those things. This is all about the objective of today's session. Okay, what is Node.js? Now you are going to learn it. It is an open source. That is a major reason Node.js is so popular in the market. Okay, it is an open source. You don't need to buy any license. And cross-platform runtime environment for networking applications. What they are saying, it is a cross-platform. It will support for all the operating system, whether it is a Windows, Linux, or whatever. Okay, other operating system. It works for Mac related something. And it is a runtime environment. It's not a framework or something. It is an environment wherein you can develop network application. Network application includes chat based application, real-time communications, okay, RESTful API exposure, all those things. It is built on top of Google Chrome JavaScript runtime environment. Okay, that V8 engine. V8 engine is a concept which is used to okay run your JavaScript, whatever your JavaScript runtime environment. Why Google Chrome is so faster compared to the other browsers, Firefox or IE? Because Google Chrome internally uses a runtime called V8 JavaScript engine. All your JavaScript run is going to run on that particular V8 engine. Okay, that will compile and converts it. So V8 engine, why it is so faster? It is completely developed using C++ language, and the unique feature of V8 engine is that it will uh, execute your JavaScript or whatever that okay JavaScript and converts into directly wherein a browser can easily understand in a high language, instead of converting into bytecode, compiling and converting into bytecode and machine readable language. It will directly converts into machine readable high level language so that the browser can easily understand, and there is no intermediate step of converting into machine language or whatever the browser understandable language. That is the reason why V8 is so faster compared to other browsers. Chrome. Hmm. Yeah, Murali is asking a question that it's a very good question, guys. Though it is a simple. Why? His question is Node.js having any limitation like 1 second. So, since it is a Node.js code, do we really need to bother about a browser-specific issues? It is a server-side coding. It is not going to run on the server. What is going to run on the server? The Angular.js code, the Bootstrap code, whatever you are integrated in the Node.js application. In Node.js, what you need to understand, the logics which you implementing is like interacting with the file system. I want to access some file. I want to create a new file. Okay. I want to access a database. There is a table. I want to access that table and get the data. Or accessing another Java platform, C Sharp API or Java API or PHP API, Cold Fusion API. You will never interact with any document.get element by id, or you will not do any jQuery manipulation. You will not do any document what do you call browser interaction, browser dot full screen, browser dot height, browser dot width. All those things you will not do it in a Node.js. Node.js is all about creating a threads, interacting with the database, file system, chat communication, all those things. Okay. Hope morally understood it. Okay, it is built on top of Google Chrome runtime environment. You guys understood this concept? Why Google Chrome is so faster compared to other? Okay, so this let us build fast, highly scalable network applications using JavaScript. This you need to understand. I think morally you still have a confusion saying that since the Suresh is saying that it is a JavaScript, why doesn't it have a problem with the browser cross-browser compatibility issues? The JavaScript which you use in Node.js is going to work in server. I will show you how do you create a simple server today without any dependency of downloading Apache Tomcat or any other web servers, IIS server, something like that. We can just write 4 lines of code and start accessing as a server. You don't need to do any simple file download also. Okay, that is the reason why it works without any cross-browser compatibility issues. It is an asynchronous event-driven framework. Okay, what is asynchronous event-driven framework? Okay, asynchronous. You guys have an idea of asynchronous, right? How that $Ajax works in jQuery, how these JavaScript code works asynchronously. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand synchronous versus asynchronous difference. So when if you want to load some or read some file, okay, and reading a file is a synchronous operations, but though if it is a synchronous file operation, we can do it in an asynchronous manner also. I will show you an example. 1 second. Yeah, so here is a example. Look at the blocking code. I'm reading a text file which is in so and so folder. What is the API use? Read file. So here if the file size is like, let us say like 40 MB. First of all, it has to load from the disk, store it in a temporary, RAM or somewhere in the staging area, and start reading it, right? So, reading of this file takes time because since it is a JavaScript code and it executes in a single thread, okay, all the execution happens sequentially. First, it will wait for reading this file and printing the content and then printing the last statement. This is a synchronous way of executing it. Now, how do you implement the same in asynchronous manner? Non-blocking code, where content equal to read file. I'm reading a file and also mentioned in the same line. The read file, now it is taking two arguments. One is the URL path or file path, and the second one is the callback option. The callback function, if you observe here, the below piece of code, the function, it is being executed after the file reads successfully, and then start accessing the data. You understood how these asynchronous operations are working now? It is all about callbacks. It's like your $HTTP or $regex concept. You guys are clear? Don't worry. We'll repeat the same concept once again. I'm just explaining you how this blocking versus non-blocking concept works. Synchronous versus asynchronous. Okay. Yeah. Murali is asking a question that what is callback? A callback, that means I'll write a simple JavaScript example, then you will get some idea. Okay, I'm writing a simple HTML file wherein I want to put my JavaScript code. I'm using a Notepad++ case because it's a simple example. Okay, function add two numbers, a comma b. Okay, where result equal to 0, result, you can say return uh, result. Okay, here the result is a plus b. I can do a plus b directly. I'm just writing some extra statement, or you can do like this: a. You can remove all this unnecessary stuff. Okay, so now I want to call this function add two numbers 5 comma 10. Now tell me guys, if I run this piece of code, what is the expected output? Okay, first this will call the add two numbers method. The returned response will be stored into variable sum equal to some variable, and I will printing the sum. This is how it works. Instead of I doing like this, what I could do is I can register for a callback add two numbers a comma 10 comma 20, and also callback function, and the result uh, sum of two numbers are is result. So what I am doing here, first these two pieces will be executed sequentially. First of all, it has to call this method and wait for the response. Once the sum is available, then this statement will be executed. Because synchronous calling. Asynchronous, what we are doing is I am calling this particular method, the JavaScript method which is there under line number 4, by passing the two arguments, and also register for a callback saying that boss, you complete your operations adding two numbers whatever I am passing, do that. After that you have a callback. Okay, here this piece has to be executed. Understood? You perform your operations, whatever the 10 comma 20, add two numbers. Finally, the output has to be rendered here. How do you do this output rendering? Okay, you can just call another method also. I will tell you how to do that. Okay, uh, print result is my method name. Where is that method? The method is here. Function print result. Okay, the result, or you can say anything, response console.log result is okay. Who is going to call this method? This guy, like this. Okay. Okay, this is how the callback is going to execute. What we are doing is I'm calling this method. Okay, here is a method I want to call as a callback. That means this method has to be executed after successful completion or processing of this add two numbers. Who is going to call? Because I'm passing, I can in JavaScript I can pass variables as an argument, also a function as an argument. Here the entire function is being passed as an argument. Okay, the print result is being passed to the add two numbers as an argument. Then calling this method is just using two parentheses. Who is going to call that a plus b result? You can say the result, you can store into result, sorry. Okay, the result value. Now whenever you call this print result, since result holds the a plus b value, okay, the arithmetic operation, that value will be called to this guy. This is how callbacks works. Nothing. You are writing a $ajax. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the dollar or XML HTTP request. $.ajax. This is my URL. What is this? HTTP localhost 3000 get students, all students. Right? What do? You have a success. Okay, function. What is this success doing, guys? It's a callback. That means you are telling, if after executing this endpoint, if it is success, call this. If it is error, do something. Murali, are you clear? Callbacks are something which gets executed after some after few operations are performed successfully, whatever you registered for. Okay. Another thing, you have a button click event handler. I have a button. Okay, HTML code. Okay, on click you have registration of what do you call um, alert user is my method. How do you register this button ID? This is a test or login button, you can say, and do login. If I want to do a register on click event on this button, instead of doing on click like this, what do you do? Maybe you can say, if it is a jQuery login button dot bind, okay, click event. What do? A click event. Maybe syntax is wrong, just try to understand. Okay, a function. This is also a callback. What are we doing here? Whenever you click this button, call this method. That is called callback. It is getting handled when particular event occurs. A trigger, I would say. That is a callback. Okay, hope you guys are clear. Yeah. So this is clear. Now guess what is a single thread? You guys already know JavaScript is a single thread. Okay, that is common, straightforward statement. But same, since we are using a JavaScript, Node.js internally works on a single thread concept. But how do you make your application so faster? There are concepts. Okay, otherwise Node.js will not be popular in the market. What they say is, since it is a single thread, you don't have a problems of race conditions. When you create a multiple threads, what happens? You will run into deadlocks, race conditions issue, all those problems. Okay, so but here, since it is a single thread, you don't need to bother about all these things. But the immediate question is, if it is a single thread, obviously your application performance will goes down. We have alternatives. Almost no function in the code directly performs input-output operations. So the process never blocks. Okay, almost no functions in the node directly performs input-output operations. So the process never blocks. Why? Because we have asynchronous program execution. Asynchronous means this is how we are going to execute it. We have all callbacks. Node.js program uses asynchronous operations performed. Okay, that is the reason why it is faster. Because nothing blocks. Less than expert programmers are able to. Less experienced programmers also can be easily start coding in Node.js. Don't worry, I'll repeat all those things. Node.js is event driven and uses the event emitter model. Okay. Node.js, apart from asynchronous operations, Node.js uses event driven programming. What is this event driven programming? It is all, as I just explained, a button. Okay, you have a click event. When do you think this button click event gets triggered? When you go and click on this particular button, otherwise it won't get executed. So in Node.js, though if you wrote the code, the particular event will be executed whenever that particular event gets emitted. Emitted is nothing but triggered. Till then it won't execute, it won't do anything. That is the reason why it is called event driven programming. Where do you use event driven programming? When you interact with the file system, when you create a web server, when you start creating a chat based application, everything is a event driven programming in Node.js. So I will take a simple example of Node.js. Only thing is you will not have a HTML code, that's it. Okay, where a equal to 10, where b equal to 20. Okay, now take an object called phone, where phone equal to an object. Okay, this needs to be extended from event emitter class. Okay, I will explain that later, don't worry. Now I can say phone dot on ringing function console dot log, hey, this is Suresh. Okay, who's going to trigger this event? Since Node.js is a event driven programming, even though if I execute this program, it will execute line by line, but this is just registered, it is not executed. When do you think this will be emitted? Whenever the other person calls this phone event as emit, like this, ringing. This is called emitting an event, and this is event handler. Okay, this is how the program we are going to write it. Don't worry, there are multiple examples I will explain. Okay, just I'm giving an example how they works. Okay, just because Node.js is a single thread, don't think that you cannot have multi-cores in our application. There are concepts like child processes, forking, okay, spanning your child process, creating a clustering environment. All those concepts are available. You can leverage the multi-core functionality on your hardware, on your laptop, whatever it may be. Okay, you can start creating a or leveraging your hardware and creating a multiple instances, multiple child processes. We can work for spanning child process, the same concept whatever I explained. Child processing or child process can be created in different ways. Spanning, fork, all those concepts I will cover in module 6. This let us even fire shell commands or even start. Okay, what they are saying is the child process which you can use it, you can use it to fire shell commands. You can run commands like dir/p or sudo grep command in Linux. You want to run it, or you want to start some server. All these you can create them as a child processes. You can execute program, you can run commands. All those things can be possible in child process concept. Okay, so what is the advantage of synchronous versus asynchronous? If you write code in synchronous manner, if you write code in asynchronous manner, let us say 1 egg takes 15 minutes to boil. 10 eggs takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes practically, and not 150 minutes. Okay, that is what they are explaining. What they are saying is, if you want to boil an egg, which is going to take a maximum of 15 minutes or something, okay, The same time, if you put 10x, okay, it might take say 15 minutes. It won't take more than 15 minutes, or at maximum 20 minutes. Okay, so here when you do asynchronous operations also, it is the same concept achieved using non-blocking code. What we are going to do is, okay, we are going to use a non-blocking concept called using callback handler, asynchronous way of executing your Node.js programming. Today itself I will explain all those examples, okay, then you will understand how you can write non-blocking code. I just already showed you how non-blocking code works here. Okay, here the same concept you need to understand. I'll repeat this in next few minutes once the theory part is completed. Event loop. Understand this event loop concept, how Node.js works in it. Receives a request and process in a single thread scenario. Apache uses one thread per connection. Okay, if you go to normal Java, JTE or any ASP application, when you deploy it in a web server, how they work? When a web server receives a request from the client, it creates a separate thread, a worker thread, and make sure that the request is being processed in that particular thread. Like that, if I get 250 or whatever 250 requests, 250 threads will be created in normal web server scenario. That is how your HTTP server works. Once there is a limit on the thread pool, 257 or something, I didn't remember the count exactly. Once that thread pool count reaches, that means you send 250 requests have been sent to that particular web server. Now the web server thread pool maximum size is reached. What it happens, the remaining requests which are currently received by that web server, they put on the hold. They will be in queue. Once that 257 thread pool is free, whatever, whether it is a 1 or 2 or gets freed immediately, the remaining threads who are the requests who are in the queue will be picked up by your thread pool. That is how it works. But in normal scenario, when you receive a request in Node.js, that will be added in the event queue, like this, line by line, the order they came in. Event queue will be picked up by your event loop. Event loop is another mechanism wherein Node.js, it will indefinitely calls that event loop and try to pick up the request which are there in the queue. Okay, and if it is a blocking operation, that means event loop will identify whether this is a blocking operation, the blocking request. That means, is it required to interact with the file system? Is it required to interact with the database? Database means it has to connect to database, it has to fetch the data, then only it creates a thread. Otherwise, if it is not required, it is not a non-blocking operation, it won't create a thread for you. This is the diagram. Event queue, event loop is a inside Node.js component. It will keep on indefinitely loops through and picks up the requests which are there in the queue and assign to thread pool if it is required only in this blocking scenario, file system interaction, network interaction, creating another child or others. Otherwise, it will directly give it to the callback. Is that clear, guys? How the Node.js works and compared to other web servers. Node.js web server versus normal web server. In a normal web server scenario, for every request there is a one thread created. Okay. So what I am saying is, when you receive a request to Node.js web server, it puts all the requests in event queue. Okay, one by one. These event queues, you never know when they will be picked up, because there is a component internally which was developed in C++ library only, that will take care of accessing these events which are in the queue from the event queue. The event loop is repeating every time. It is looping through every time. It's like AngularJS digest cycle, dirty checking. So whenever, yeah, the events are free, whatever that requests which you receive are free, this event loop picks up one from the event queue and assign it and checks, oh, is it required any blocking operation, or it is just like, running a JavaScript code. If it is just running like a JavaScript code, it will return the response back. Otherwise, it will create a thread, separate worker thread. When, let us say, you are asking for a query all patients. Patients are there in the database. It has to go to the database. It has to wait for the query results and then return back. In that case, it is a blocking. It is blocking your operation. So in that case, it creates a thread. Otherwise, it won't create a thread. What is a normal scenario? Yes, take an example of, you are saying that I want some query patient but hard-coded data in Node.js. I'm giving a scenario or performing some operations. You send something and you are asking for something, validating session. Okay, session is active or not. That is just validating and sending it back. You don't need to create a thread for that. That is how it works. Are you clear, Gayatri? Okay, perfect. Okay. So I already explained just before what is this blocking code versus non-blocking code. You guys already clear. Now we'll go to the examples. One second. Okay, perfect. Installing Node.js. I don't know how many of you already installed Node.js on my machine. Node.js is already available. If you want to install Node.js on your machine, very yeah, event queue is still sequential, but it is not creating a separate thread like normal web server. Or you want a break, just a 1 hour, right? Okay, I can take, not a problem. Okay, we can take a break if you want. I think Sharavanan, yeah, he's asking a question that event queue is still a sequential. Okay, yes, it will resolve the request because this event loop is a concept, right? That is getting picked up immediately. Okay, even the if they are in a queue. Yeah, here it is. This event loop is keep on looping through. It won't keep much, not like thread pool size or something. They have a very good size wherein they you can request will be in queue. From the queue, it is just picking up. There is no limitation on something like that, and it is easily picking up. If it is really required a thread, then it is creating. Creating a thread is an expensive, right? Okay, that is how it works. Is that clear, Sharonan? Is this queue based on my RAM size? I'm not sure on that point exactly. Maybe it impacts, but how much is exactly I'm not sure. So you said you're thinking about a RAM size, right? That's another advantage of scaling, right? Normally, what do you do if you want to increase servers? Let us say you have installed a MySQL on your machine. How do you scale in MySQL? You have to do if you want to improve the performance of your MySQL server, what do you do? Maybe you go for one processor, dual core processor, or you might be increasing your RAM size to improve the performance or create a multiple instances. But whereas in Node.js, we have a concept called forking, okay, child process forking, where we can create a multiple instances on the same hardware. You don't need to go for higher horizontal scaling database called. Mongo database supports horizontal scaling. That means you can create a multiple instances of server, which makes very faster by using the hardware which you have it currently. That kind of facility is also available. You don't need to have a multiple instances of server running. The same you can use and create a clustering concept. But here I'm not sure whether the event queue exactly uses the RAM size, how much, all those things. I'm not sure. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about installing the Node.js. How do you install Node.js? You can install Node.js from an official Node.js website. On my machine, I have already installed. Okay. Go to Node.js website and get whatever the compatible version for your Windows, whatever you are, if you are using a Linux or Windows, and make sure that you are getting a 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever the operating system which you are using it. Once this is downloaded, okay, you just need to run that exe file or MSI file. That will take you through the sequence of steps. It's a wizard. Okay, you can just configure the Node.js. Once the Node.js is installed successfully, because on my machine I have already installed, guys, that's the reason I'm reinstalling it. Once that is successfully installed, okay, you need to make sure that you open the command prompt. Automatically the path also will be added to your system environment variables. Okay, the Node.js path. Otherwise, when you run the command saying that no, you get an error saying that node is not recognized as internal or external command. So if you don't get any error like that, and you when you type the node, you see a prompt here, right? That is a Node.js REPL command line interface wherein you can start writing the code. Okay, make sure that you install it. It is very very quickly you can do a installation of Node.js. If you guys have any problem, just let me know. Okay, first contact with Node.js REPL. What is this REPL? Read, evaluate, print loop. Okay, in fact, Node.js comes with an REPL, a simple command line tool. Interactively run JavaScript and see the result. Just type node on the command line and hit the enter. That's what I did here. What I did is, after installation of Node.js, the class, whatever the path variable is available and everything, I just did node. Automatically it showed me a command line interface where I can type the code, JavaScript code, and run the examples, where I can say a equal to 5, console.log value of a is comma a. Value of a is 5. That is how you can start writing the code. It's like your MySQL command prompt. But the problem with this command prompt, I cannot go and edit my code. I need to rewrite it every time. This is not suggestible. Instead of that, what you guys can do is you can write something from a file and run that code here. I will show you that in next few minutes. We enter the world of Node.js. Okay, perfect. Your first Node.js program. Let us write our first program. Our very first Node.js program is console.log statement hello world. Copy that onto a new file and save it with an extension called .js. So if you want to write code in Node.js, you need to create a .js file and start writing the code. That file you can run it from a command prompt to run the program. Go to the command line, change the directory to the folder where the .js file is available, and run file, whatever the file name. Example is just now file name they have used, but you can use whatever the file name you want to use it. Okay, Node.js consists of modules that I will come back to that later. Okay, as I said, guys, I'm going to create a new file. Okay, the file name is index.js file. I'm not writing index.html, it is an index.js file. It is a JavaScript file. I stored that file in a desktop. Now, since it is a JavaScript file, I don't need to use any script tags. Where, okay, I can say function, say greetings. Whenever you call this function, you just need to send a message, hello, whatever the argument you say. Okay, how do you call this function? Console.log say greetings, name is Suresh. This is what my basic program. What I'm doing is I have a JavaScript method which takes one argument, the argument, and concatenating with a string called hello and returning that result. So whenever I call this function, say greetings here inside console statement, I'm passing a name Suresh. That value will be printed in the greetings, whatever that return value. So how do you run this program from using a Node.js? What all you need to do is just go to the desktop, cd desktop, because that file is there in the desktop, and say node index.js. You guys see that? I'm using a command called node space the file name with extension. The file name is index.js. Okay, when I run this, you can see the result. Hello, Suresh. Very simple. Running a Node.js program is very simple. Okay, you can do like this. Or if you guys really want to run it from a Eclipse, what do you need to do? Open Eclipse. Okay, we'll come back to the Eclipse part after a few minutes. Let me walk you through the remaining topics. Yes, we can pass arguments in CLI also. Okay, that I will cover, don't worry. It's there in the module 5 somewhere. No, module 6, when you create a child process wherein we pass arguments to the from the command line. Yes, we can pass. Okay. Basics of Node.js modules. Node uses concepts of modules. A module is an encapsulated unit of code. Why we have to develop a modularized application instead of, let us say, you are working for an enterprise application. You need to modularize your application into smaller pieces wherein you can easily manage those modules and test them easily. If you develop a modularized course, doing a performing unit testing is also very easy and easy to manage them. So Node.js provides that feature. You can develop a modularized application in Node.js. Even AngularJS also supports the same. That is the reason why loading those module dependency injection concept, these languages are so popular. Okay, your application can have three type of modules. What are those modules? Node.js built-in modules. Okay, as I'm saying that we are going to develop a enterprise application wherein we need to develop applications in a modularized fashion manner. So you can define modules or you can create modules in three ways. What are those? Modules which are already available, built-in modules, predefined modules or whatever. Module you have written, the user defined modules. Okay, our own custom model. Sometimes we need to write our own logic, you need to develop our own model and start integrating into the main application. Third party modules, NPM, node package manager. Let us say you want to use Java authentication and authorization system, or you want to use WAUth implementation. You need to use some existing modules which are not available in Node.js. Then you can start using third-party module which are available in npm registry. How do you check what modules are available are there in the market? You just need to go to the npm registry. This is the GitHub maintained one. You just go there and type for modules which are you are interested. Let us say I want to use passport. Passport is a module which is helpful for implementing a OAuth mechanism, authentication and authorization through using OAuth. So to do that, we need to depend on some third party. Third party in the sense somebody developed it and published it in the market. We are going to use them. So here you can just say passport is my package name. I want to get it. Yes. When you search for that, you can see the modules available. How do you install these modules into your project? How do you add these dependencies to your project? I will show you in next few minutes. Okay. Modules you have written third party module. So we will be covering uses of modules, okay, existing built-in modules, and developing our own module and accessing third party modules also I will cover. Okay, tomorrow we'll be covering this one also. Besides certain built-in modules, all other modules can be used in our JavaScript file by just saying where object equal to require module name. It is very simple, guys. Reading a file. I want to read a file. What is a module I need? You just need to understand here. Okay, I'm going to read a simple file where, okay, fs equal to require fs. What is fs? Fs is a module available in Node.js, and that means built-in one. Okay, now fs dot, okay, read file. What is the file name? Let us say you have a employee.txt file, okay, or text file. After reading this file, I want to do some callback option. What is this callback? I just want to print the data. Console.log, okay, data.toString. Now tell me how this program is going to execute. What we are doing is, since Node.js is a flat one, I am dependent on some modules. We need some modules to read the files, right? That module is called FS, file system module. So how do you import a module into your Node.js application? There is a method called require. To this, we need to pass the argument, the name of the module. Automatically, Node.js will try to import this from your built-in modules list. fs.read file. What I am doing is fs.read file. Fs is a module which has a method called read file, which takes two arguments, the file name and the callback function. So this is helping us to reading a file and printing the data value. So how simple is to read the file in Node.js? Just cross check here. How do I run this program if I want to run it? You just need to say, first of all, you need to have employee.txt file. How do you create that? You can just say John, okay, pipe symbol separator is retrieving $10,000, okay, and job is senior consultant, okay. This is all about employee details, nothing else. Employee.txt file, or it is already a text file, so I don't need to provide an extension. I'm storing this on the desktop, okay. Now go to the program and run node index.js, because my node.js program is there inside index.js file. What happened? It says I don't know what is this data to string. I'm not able to read it. What we need to do is just remove this to string, because all the data which is read from the file is a stream. Right now it is a null data. I will explain you why it is null, all those things, but still we are able to read the data. You can see data read successfully, okay. This is all about I want to print it. Why null? Because we have to use some streaming, converting these binary data into a what do you call, encoding mechanism. We have to apply some encoding mechanism, ASCII, or it is a UTF-8, all those things. Do you guys see that? Data read successfully after reading the file. That means the file is available. We are able to interact with the file. I have a data object also. I'm able to get that callback. What do you want me to print it, Murali? Hello. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. When I say data dot to string, okay, I think I use it as a method. Let me cross check one second. Data dot to string, it says it is not available. Did I use this as a function also? It says to string is not available. That could be the reason. If there is an error, no. Data is printing as a null. It is currently a null. Here, comma data. Yeah, this is where you go. First argument is a error argument. You guys see that? So the first argument in callback, in Node.js callback handler, always the first argument is a error argument. What does that error argument is nothing but if there is any error occurs. Let us say if error, okay, say console.log, error occurred while reading, sorry, when I say while, automatically error occurred, okay. This is all up. If error is there, this statement will be printing, otherwise it will come to here. Right now error object is null. That means we are able to read the data properly. Is that clear? Any doubts? So with a simple lines of code, we are able to read the data from a file. You guys there? The data is here, whatever I read. Yes. Now we imported the built-in module called FS. FS is a file system. I will show you how to write your own module and import it also. That is also very straightforward. Yeah, technically there is no error, right? When I got an error object, it says null. All your callback handlers, the first argument is error. Gayatri is asking a question that, yeah, without error also it should work. We need to use event-driven programming. That's what I will check why it didn't fail it. There is a different way of handling this. What we need to do is we need to register for an event on this fs object. How you do that is in a different way manner. We do fs.on. Hey guys, 2 minutes, huh? Just give me time. Okay. So we need to register for an event saying that data. Here you have a callback and you get data. Console.log data received data. Okay. First dot. I just need to cross check the syntax. fs.read file. We are saying. Let me run this program and see. This is another way of doing it. Fs is on. Okay. Oh, no, this is not the way. I will check why that data first argument error returned a null object. I will cross check why it is. But usually we put like this error only. Okay. First argument you should have an error and you should do an error check on that. Why the first argument, if there is no error, you should not throw a null object here. If it throw, I will cross check on that. Why? There might be some slightly issue. I'll cross check. Okay. So this is how you import your built-in Node.js modules into the system. Let us say if you want to develop your own module, how do you import it? That is there in the second module concept. Explained in the second module. Okay. Uh, don't worry guys, all these topics are covered the third party module npm, right? This will be covered in module 5 wherein we use passport, body parser, cookie parser, express session and mongo database. All those are third party modules which we import it in and start using them. But today's session, this is all about, we are going to cover built-in modules. Tomorrow we'll be covering all about creating your mono module. Fifth module will be covering how to import third-party module. Okay, 1 second. Besides certain built-in modules, all other modules can be used in our JS file by just saying where object equal to required. That's what I did. Module name is fs we used. Object will now have the necessary functions, methods to be used in our applications. Okay, so what are you going to do? This object will have necessary functions or methods which are available in this module. You can still access them. Certain built-in modules are already available to use and do not have to be required. What are those modules? What they are saying is certain built-in modules. You don't need to import them. You can directly access them. The best example I would say console.log statement. There is one more module called process. Process.log. Whenever an error occurs, do this. Process level error. As I said, in Node.js, okay, whenever, oh really, is it not clear now? Okay, Sharavanan says my voice is breaking. He could not hear me well when we were discussing about a custom model initialization. I think Sharavanan, that is a problem from your end. The network might be low on your end. Others heard me very well. Let me know which part you want me to explain. Okay. So today I didn't explain anything about the custom model. What I've explained is today Node.js built-in model. I just did some lab or example practice, hands-on practice, how to import a built-in model that is called file system in the Node.js application. And what I'm saying is modules you have written, that means custom models, that we are going to cover it tomorrow because we have to do some examples and run them and import them in our local main process level. That is a topic, tomorrow's topics in the module 2. Module third party model we are going to cover in module 5. That is what I was explaining about. And the thing is, how do you import existing modules into Node.js application using a require method? That's what I'm talking about. And what they are saying is, once you import the model, you should be able to access the properties, either it is a variable or a function or a method inside your model. You should be able to do it using this variable reference to that model. Certain built-in modules are already available to use and do not have to be required. What they are saying is, certain global level modules which you don't need to import them, you can directly start accessing them. That's what I was talking about. Okay. I haven't explained anything about custom model. So here console is a module. Console also has methods, variables. How are we able to access them? They are global. We don't need to use any require console statement. Process. Process is a another module which is available. Yeah, Murali is asking a question that how to know what are already available as built-in model. You just need to go to the Node API official website wherein they have listed out APIs. You just need to go through that. But in a real-time scenario, mostly you will be using console statement, process statement, and FS file system, $HTTP utils method. Okay, because by the completion of this course, we use all those modules. You get an idea. Okay. Is that clear? You have an API, just go and cross check if you're really interested, curious to understand right away. But end of this course, every day we will be using some new modules. Today we did FS. Tomorrow what we are going to do, or maybe today itself, HTTP equal to require HTTP. This is for making HTTP calls, or not making, creating a HTTP server. I'll do that. Okay, after some time you do express require express. What is this for? MEC framework, right? Like this, every day you start using some new modules, then you will get some idea obviously. Yes, you can give a different name. You don't need to give express only. You can say EX. You can say HTTP underscore protocol. Anything. This is a reference variable. You don't need to be matched with your module name. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to explain. Somebody is asking what is this process here, what is the purpose of this process. Just give me a couple more minutes. When I start creating a HTTP server, I will explain what is this process. Okay, the process is a global model available. Each Node.js application creates, when you run the application, it creates a process. You can go and cross check in task manager because all your processes are listed here, right? When you run Node.js application, it creates a process. Now you may ask me a question that, can you run this application and show me how the process runs? What is this? Express. Express is a what kind of module, guys? This is a third party module. which is not available in excuse me, which is not available in Node.js as a built-in module. That is the reason why it is saying an error saying that I cannot find what is expressed here. You need to install that. How do you install that? From registry. Where is the registry? You go to the npm registry and say express. Guys, let me know if I am going fast. Okay, don't wait till end of the class and say the class was too fast. I can repeat it whatever you guys want. So here you have a module called express, the current version of the module. Okay, what all it will support it. Is that clear? So now how do you get this module into the system? There is a command which you need to run it. I will tell you that when you discuss about npm node package manager. Okay, just give me some few more minutes. Okay, I have opened Eclipse here. Okay, so I can create a new workspace for this batch. Node.js, this is a December batch, December 12th, I would say, December 15, 2015. Okay, let me open the Eclipse. Okay, since this is a third-party model, we have to run some command saying that npm install express. So what we are doing is there is some model which is a third-party model. If I want to add this as a dependency, okay, like a jar file, think of it, to my project, I need to run command saying that npm install express. Then it will add it to your project. For that, you need to use a command called npm. This is a node package manager. We haven't discussed that completely. We will be discussing in next half an hour. Okay, perfect. Let me remove this for now because we don't have. Okay, just give me 2 minutes, guys. Okay, so if I run this index.js file, node index.js, see what happens this time. Okay, this time no issue. We are able to import the required HTTP module also. Okay, now go to the PDF file. So I have my workspace opened already here, Eclipse. Okay, now what we are supposed to do is new. Okay, so here if you guys observe, I have an option of Node.js project, Node.js Express project. The Express project is something for MVC framework development of web application. This is a plain Node.js project. How are you getting this options in Eclipse? There is a plugin called Node Eclipse that you need to install. Node Eclipse. Okay, you just go to the nodeeclipse.org website. Okay, there is an option of install. What you need to do is just drag this and drop it on your Eclipse. You can just read the tooltip. Drag and drop onto a running Eclipse IDE. That's it. Automatically you get an access to that. I mean that plugin will get installed on your Eclipse. You guys are clear? Node Eclipse is a plugin. Just drag and drop on Eclipse, you get this plugin support. So automatically, once you restart the Eclipse, whenever I want to create a project, I can create a Node.js project and I can run it from here itself. I'll say the simple one, module one. Today we are going to do some hands-on in the module one project. Okay, so this is done. What I need to do is just create a index.js file here. That is what my main entry file. Okay, copy this file, whatever the code I have written, and paste it here. What is the reason I moved from a command prompt to this Eclipse? It is, it provides all the API intelligence. I can easily go and run the program by right clicking, saying that node run as Node.js application, node application. Okay, so what is the error here? It says data.toString is an error. What is the reason? Because employee.txt file is not available in this project. What I need to do, I need to create a employee.txt file, or I can copy whatever I created here on the desktop and put it in my project level, same directory level where I have the file. Now run the application, right click and say run as node application. This time I got the data. So I don't need to run any commands. Just right click and say run. I can also do a debugging also. I can put my command breakpoints here and say debug as node application. Okay. You see that control came here, running. The control is stopped. Now error object is null currently, so you can do whatever that execution of the debugging. Clear guys? Any questions? How Node.js supports debugging and supporting an Eclipse thing? Yeah, I will cover the HTTP module. See, in this PDF, we have a content managed very well. Okay, one by one, I will cover it. I can cover it today, but tomorrow, the module, whatever there in the content slides, again, you guys will feel bored. So I'll go slowly, one by one. Everything will be covered, don't worry. Whatever I said today are the basics, theoretical. I'm just giving an idea. What is HTTP? What is Express? But we haven't discussed about all those concepts. Creating a custom modules, I haven't talked about. That we will discuss tomorrow. I just gave an idea because some people, right, people who are advanced knowledge, who has an advanced knowledge in JavaScript, if I explain about basic concept, they feel bored. They need to understand. Oh, there are some advanced concepts which we will be learning it tomorrow. Okay, definitely. Okay, so here is the option. You are asking about a HTTP server, right? Yes, here is a slide. Now we are going to create a basic HTTP server and start that server. You can start accessing it from the browser. How do you do that? Very simple. Just go to the browser, remove all this code, whatever you have written. Okay. If I ask you a question that to how do you deploy, if I ask you to deploy some application in a HTTP web server, what do? You need to go for a Tomcat, or you will be using some IAS server, or you will be dependent on some application server or something. But in Node.js, with a few lines of code, we can easily develop a web server and deploy applications. How do you do that? Very simple. Where HTTP equal to require HTTP, okay, where server equal to http dot create server. I will tell you what all these callbacks, how they works, don't worry. Respond server dot listen 3000 function dot log statement server listening at TP localhost 3000 is a port and the host name. If you don't provide any host name, that is a default one. Okay, I created a server. Okay, so what we are doing it here in this piece of code, I want to create a HTTP web server. When I start the server, I should be able to access that application using this localhost 3000 port number. 3000 is the port number, because when you use web server you need to provide some port number. So here, to create a web server in Node.js, we have a module called HTTP. Okay, if you go to the registry, npm registry, and check for HTTP, you can see that registry is available, right? API, it's all about API. Okay, so and now once you import this HTTP API, I should be able to call the properties which are there in this HTTP module. HTTP module is doing create server, a method which is taking a callback. Once again, I'm repeating, in JavaScript, when you create a function and you define a function, to that function I can pass a variables as an argument, also a function as an argument. So here, create server is a function which is again having one more argument as function. What is that function doing here? You need to understand. The function is a callback. That means whenever the server gets created, call this function. What is this function doing? This function, again, it is an anonymous function. Okay, it doesn't have any name, which is taking two arguments, request comma response. A request object, response object are implicit objects given by this so and so HTTP server. I will give a scenario in Java JT scenario. You go to HTTP servlet, you create a servlet. When you create a servlet, you have an option of accessing request response object. Who is giving you that request response objects to you? Maybe your web container when that particular servlet gets instantiated or something. Same way here, we are saying http.create server. I want to create a server. When you create a server, there is a callback. Call this after successfully creating the server, call this function and give me request response object which are already instantiated by this so and so server. You don't need to go and manually instantiate. Now start responding to this. If you want to read the data which is coming in the request, you will be reading it from request object. And if you want to send some data back to the client, whoever is requesting, you just need to say response dot end. Hello, this is my first Node.js web server program or response, you can say. Okay, so you guys understood, right, what I'm doing? After creating the server, I just returning the reference to it. That server object is listening to port number 3000. Okay, so that means server is an object which has a method called listen, wherein you are supposed to send 3000 port number. If you want to pass host name, you can pass it here saying that localhost, or you can say 127.0.0.1. But port number, if you don't give anything, which is by default to localhost. So in the listen, the method listen taking multiple argument. The first argument is the port number. Second argument is the callback. After listening to this port, okay, it is going to print a statement saying that console.log statement server listening at HTTP localhost 3000. Guys, anyone has any questions on this before we run execute this program? Sure. Okay. I think Sharonan has some doubt. Sure. No, no. Why do you want to have a multiple listen methods here? No, no. I think Sharonan is asking question that how can we do? Are we going to have multiple methods in if multiple ports are being used with different host name? No. This instance is for one server only and one port number. Okay, we are not going to have multiple port numbers, multiple servers. That is a different concept, creating a child process that will be covered in module 5. So here you are listening for one port, one host name. Is that clear? Yeah, that is a different concept. Creating a clustering environment, we will be using a child process by forking. Yeah, and one server, we don't have a concept of multi port numbers, right? Yeah, even one single web application also, you will be running the same host name, same port number being shared. Load balancing, clustering. Did I answer your question? But if you want to use same listen method and have multiple port number, multiple servers, that is a different scenario. Even I am not sure, but what is the scenario you will be having it in future? Multiple servers. If you go to server.xml in your Tomcat, will you be registering for multiple? Yeah, you can use number 1000, whatever the port number is free, you can use 8080. That is what your question. 9000, whatever the free port, you can use it one at a time. Did I answer? Is that the question you are asking? Yeah, 80 is a default, but don't use 80 port number, because sometimes Skype uses the 80 port number. No, you cannot listen to the multiple ports here. But anyhow, I need to recheck. I'm not sure 100%. I never use that listening to multiple ports in this method itself, in the same web application. But you can create a multiple instances with a different concept. But I'm not sure whether it supports 8080, 3000. I'm not sure. So far we gave only one port number. Yes. HTTPS, HTTPS we can support. Okay, if you want to listen for, okay, if that is your question, you are asking the difference between a HTTP and HTTPS. Yes, there is a different scenario wherein if you are using a HTTPS, you have to get your certifications for your keys, all those things, and based on the server which you are running, whether if you are running it locally, you will never be using HTTPS. If you have deployed the code on development or QA or UA, what you need to do is you have some configuration files saying that like config.js file. Okay, some JSON file, guys. If it is a development name equal to uh, dev comma use HTTP, we use it to do this HTTP yes. Okay, say that 0 or 1. Now that means you are going to use HTTPS. That means in development environment, UAT, all those things, you have the configuration is going to change 1. If it is a local, you set it to 0, and internally the code which you are going to, after reading that configuration file, read config file. Okay. Now if HTTPS, okay, equal whatever 1, that means it is using HTTPS. Now when you are creating a server, you have to pass your options. What are the options will have? Options will have settings related to where is your certification key, where is your what do you call other keys and public key, private key properties, right? When you use HTTPS, you need to pass all those things. That options you will be populating it here. By default it is null, you can say, or empty object. Now internally you need to put options equal to that files, whatever ca, okay, and key, all those things. You understood, Saravanan? Whatever, whoever asked me question. Okay, that kind of configuration that I will explain in module 4, wherein we have HTTP versus HTTPS. You can just go and refer it, that module. We have a concept of handling the HTTPS versus HTTP. Okay, whoever okay, perfect. So Amit, you are asking something 80 port, right? Don't use 80 port because 80 is a default port. Okay, 1 second, guys, just got a phone call. You guys are clear, right? On this piece of code, at least what is happening, how we are creating a server, how we are listening for the particular port. Okay, if I run this example, server listening at localhost HTTP, this printed. That means initially when you run this program, server started listening on 9000 port. Instead of 9000, I put it as a 3000, just a statement, console statement difference. Okay, right now the server is listening on 9000, so I change it to 9000. Whenever you make any changes in the server code, you need to restart the server. That's the reason why I stopped the server. Now I am restarting the server. Before you go there, just make sure, are there any process running for Node.js? Okay, one is running, just kill it. Okay, now no process are running. Can we just do run as node application? Now the port is running on 9000. Go to the task manager and see Node.js. There is one process running. You guys see that? Node.js server-side JavaScript programming, which is running one instance because we ran the HTTP server. That is a internally created a process because Node.js creates a process. Clear, guys? Now go to the browser and say HTTP localhost 9000. What is the expected response? Hello, this is my first Node.js web server response. That is what we printed at this line number. So very simple statement, guys. We haven't downloaded any Tomcat or any web server. We using the Node.js platform only, using the module called HTTP. I just created a simple web server. Web server, it is a web server. Murali is asking a question, what kind of server it is? It is a web server, plain web server we are using. It's not Apache or something. Internally Node.js HTTP server. We haven't downloaded anything. A module created by Node.js team to serve a web application request that was done by HTTP. A plain web server. Clear? Okay. That's what they explain here. So somebody asked me, are we going to cover HTTP module today? Yes, based on the slides, I will explain each and every content because I have to cover the slides also. Okay, some people they want theoretical knowledge, some they want more hands-on. Okay, Gayatri is asking a question that if we use request, what is going to happen? It is a request to server, so it will not be printed on the browser, right? Yes, the request is nothing but in Node.js you develop service endpoints, right? Your REST API endpoints. Who is going to send the request? The client. The client is nothing but your mobile or a tablet or your remote, it can be, or it can be your browser only. So server makes a request, sorry, client makes a request. That request will hold data. What kind of data? The form data, the request parameters. That data you need to access from request object. It is almost like your do get do post in servlet. Okay, and read the data. Based on the request data, you process the response and send it. Right? You process the request and send the response back. That is all about request. But in Node.js, request, it is not a plain JavaScript string or an object. It is just a stream. That stream you need to parse using third-party modules called body parser, cookie parser, request.body. Then only you can access the request parameters on the request object. You cannot directly access them. So that topic is covered in module 5. When you start creating a web applications, there we play with request object, response object using Express MVC framework. Because we create a form, we send the form data and we read the request parameter. Based on the condition, we process that and send the response. Is that clear, Gayatri? Definitely we'll cover that. Okay. Right now today we are explaining basics. So here we created a server. See, response.write head. Every request will have a request header. Same way, and request body. That is all about request. If you go to any website in the browser and open a Firebug control, okay, here you all know, right, how to open Firebug, Chrome developer tools. You go to the network. So here I requested for localhost 8080. Okay. So each request will have a request header, response header. What is the response header? I just got length of content 49. Okay, whatever that, and date when it received, connection, and request header, what I am sending, what is the size of it, all those kinds. So this is a request metadata. Every request will have a header, every request will have a content of the request. Same way response header, response content. So if you want to populate any data related to header, request or response header, we'll be using. Here I'm using response.write header. 200 is a status code, HTTP status code. That means it indicates it is a successful response. Content type is text or plain. You all know, right, what is this header concept, or any one of you are new? Okay, so apart from sending a response back to the caller, you can also send the header content. That is all about. Don't worry, this again I'll repeat it in module 5, web application level. So to run the server, copy the code in any folder and run on the main on the command line node example.js. Instead of we doing like this, what I did is I used Eclipse plugin. Okay guys, any questions? As you can see the above, HTTP is a built-in module that shipped with Node.js. It is a part of Node.js module. Okay, so basics of Node.js. Now we are going to cover about modules in depth. Built-in modules. To view the list of modules that is shipped with Node.js, you can just go to nodejs.org.api. If you click on this website, you can see list of modules available. Somebody asked me where can I check the modules, what are the available. Yes, here you can cross check it. Okay, you can see HTTP. If you want to understand about HTTP, you just click here. It will take you to the HTTP module, and they have mentioned all theoretical the methods, properties available in that particular Node.js module. Okay, apart from that, you see stability too. Stable, what is that index, the number, how it is going to helpful. Each of the modules have stability index from 0 to 5. Be careful to use only those modules or features that have an index of 3 and above for production ready mode. That means every module will have a stability index, right? That stability index lets you know that this module is stable, or is it deprecated, is it just doing an experiment, still not in stable mode, or is a stable or unstable. It is locked, that means completely we can use it for production, that kind of thing. So if the module stability index is 0, that means it is deprecated, it is no more in use. Okay, if you want to see that kind of module, I can show you that there is a module called domains, DOMAINS. Okay, so this model currently it is not in use. This is deprecated by Node.js team. You can just go and cross check somewhere, it should be having a number. Did they give any such option? Okay, you guys just cross check, it should be somewhere. Global models, domains is here. This one they are saying that it is not stable and it got deprecated also. Let me check. Yeah. You see that stability index is 0. It is deprecated. It's not in use it. So like that, you can just go through the stability index. 1. Experimental purpose. This feature has been recently introduced into the Node.js platform, but it is not yet completely developed. They are still working on it. It is doing some experiment, whether it will works properly or not, that kind of experiment. 2. Unstable. This feature is in the process of settling, not been tested enough to be considered stable. They haven't performed complete testing and they didn't finalize that yes you can start using it. So in that case, that stability index is 2. If stability index is 3, this feature of module is been working satisfactory. Clean up in the underlying code, you can start using it for even production purpose also. So that's the reason why for HTTP we see module number 3. 4. So API frozen. Okay, this has been tested extensively and is unlikely to cover changes. You guys are there? Can you hear me? Okay, So stable is it. And 4, stability index is 4, something got API got completely frozen. This has been tested extensively and is unlikely to ever change. So that means it will never change, it is frozen. And 5, if it is stability index is 5, it is locked unless serious bugs are found. This code will never ever change it. So that is all about the stability index. When you are developing a modules, you can just define your own also, that I will explain, don't worry. So we did so far the lab, whatever we are supposed to do it. Now we are going to the next topic, basics of Node.js NPM. This is what you guys need to understand it very well. NPM, Node Package Manager. NPM used to stand, oh sorry, NPM stands for Node Package Manager. Okay, it is the name itself contains it is a managing something, all the your packages. Now it stands for nothing. It actually not an acronym. NPM is not a Node.js specific tool anymore. So remember that NPM is not only specific to Node. The Node command nowadays we have started using NPM command. We started using it to install all other dependencies for even for Angular also. Power and Angular side will be adding some more libraries, dependencies, all those things. Okay, Node is very much popular in the market. NPM is a registry of reusable modules and packages written by various developers. So what is NPM registry here? It is a reusable modules and packages written by various developers and publish them. So whoever is interested, they have a requirement, then they can start using those modules. Yes, you can publish your own NPM package. That I think tomorrow we will see it, not today, I'm sure. There are two ways to install NPM packages. Okay, let us say you are going to develop a application that requires some dependency. What is the dependency? Express.js framework or some other OAuth mechanism. How do you add those libraries into this application? So there are two ways. There is one way we can support using NPM. The NPM packages can be installed in two ways. One is locally, another one is globally. What is locally, what is globally? Now we will see it. Locally, to use and depend on the package from your own module or a project. That means, let us say in this application, I want to use where express equal to require express. Now, if I run this application, okay, what happens? It will throw an error. What kind of error is that? Cannot find module express. How do you get that express module? Because this is a third-party module. I want that. So to do that, you need to install it from command prompt. My workspace is in cd workspace node.js December batch. Okay, I'm here. From here, I need to run a command saying that npm install express. So when I run this command, the dependency package, okay, you can call it as a jar file, whatever it will be added to my local project, not at the global level. When I say local, currently at my project root level. When I say globally, at the user level. So at the user level, you need to add some dependencies. What kind of dependencies you will be adding at a user level? NPM is a globally installed one, and you might be using a grunt. Grunt is another alternative for and all those things. So that kind of things you will be adding at a global level. Suppose you are going to use Karma AngularJS, that you need to install it globally. So the same way you'll be seeing global level packages which you are supposed to install. But for now, I'm installing a local dependency which is specific to this project and which I don't need to share it globally. Let us say there is a requirement wherein you need to install some module or a package which is common to multiple projects in my workspace. Yes, you can install that as a globally. That globally installed package is added or installed at a user level. Your user data level, roaming data will be there, right there. But currently Express is specific to my project, so I'm installing at my project. Sorry guys, I need to install in cd module 1 because we are in module 1. npm install express is the command I need to run. Anybody has any questions so far? Okay, so the dependency or a module got added. You just refresh module 1, you see that folder got added here, node underscore module folder. What happened? Yes. Or it come along with the node installation. Do we need to install npm? Yeah, npm you don't need to install, it comes as part of your node installation. Clear? You don't need to install npm explicitly. One second, I'm checking whether I should be able to see it. Why I'm not able to see it, I'm checking. So go to the D drive, workspace, Node.js, December batch, right? 2015. This folder should be inside of this folder. That's what I'm checking. Employee configuration. Why I'm not able to see it? npm install express. I'm rerunning the command once again because I don't see that folder. And these folders outside, whatever we installed in the workspace level, I can remove them. I don't need them. Yeah. If you install globally, you see in the user level, your user access level here. Okay. Inside roaming somewhere, I will show you once after installation. I will show you. It's not showing anything here. npm install passport. Yeah. You see this passport got added. Why express is not adding here? If I do npm install express once again, let me see. See, whenever you run the dependency locally, try to install it, that will add a folder called node underscore module. Inside that, it will put the dependency name, whatever. I just added passport, so I'm able to see that folder here locally on my project level, root level. Yeah, now express is also available. So now if I run this program, I don't see any error because express module is available. You guys see that there is no error this time. It worked successfully because this module is imported successfully, added to my project. Clear? Any questions? Let me know. So, okay. Shankara Krishnan, today's session is basics. My general question is the examples in this course are like employee kind of basic examples. Going forward, are we real world? Yes, we'll be doing that. Because when you do a basic understanding, you need to go with the basics only. When we go to the real-time examples, yes, we do different kind of examples. We'll be doing a charting examples, all those kind of things. These are the basics because people have to understand the modules, not the examples which we have used it. They should know how to use these modules. That is all about. If you know how to use this module, you know you can map with your employees, or you can map with your banking domain, you can map with your healthcare domain. Those are the basics. Okay. Hope you understood, because in this course people who are 14 experience people are there, 2-3 years are there, 10 years are there. So we need to concentrate everyone. It's not like advanced concept which we are teaching it. If I start teaching advanced directly, if I jump into the web application, people who are new to the Node.js course, they will struggle a lot. Okay. Yeah, fine. So locally, to use and depend on the package from your own module or a project. Globally, to use across the system level. So if you install something at across system level, okay, you need to use a command called npm install -g. npm install -g is nothing but globally. Okay, in the globally shortcut, for a globally shortcut you can use -g, and you can say the module name whatever you are interested to install it. You can say that, karma or grunt hyphen CLI. This package will be installed outside of the project. That means it is somewhere globally at user specific level. So it is common to share at each and every project level. Installing a package locally. The package is easily downloaded by just saying that npm install and the package name. This will create a node underscore module directory if it does not exist yet, and will download the package there. So what they are saying is, when you do in npm install, it creates a folder called node underscore module and it adds the dependencies here. If it is already there, it will just add the dependency without creating a new underscore node module project folder. Once installed, you can use it in any JavaScript file of your project by saying where object equal to require package name. That's what I did here. After installing my Express, I just imported Express.js or Express MVC framework, which is used on the server side, Node.js level. Okay, now we go to the next one. Basics of Node.js. Now we are going to cover about the manifesto file for the Node.js application, the package.json file. I don't know how many of you are familiar with package.json file or manifesto file in your HTML5 code, all those things. Installing a package locally. Continuing, another way of to save packages locally is by using package.json file. What is this package.json file? Is about all you define your dependencies, okay, and about your project description, your project version, okay, and what kind of dev dependencies, peer dependencies it has, okay, and what is the entry file, all those information, meta information about the project, which are going to keep in package.json file. How this package.json file will be helpful, I will explain in next 2 minutes. Advantage: once you have a package.json file in your directory and you run npm install command, all packages names listed in there are downloaded. What they are saying is, in your package.json file, apart from the project name and the version, we keep dependencies. That means this project is going to use servlet MySQL connector, and also some Hibernate related and Spring related, some struts related, some kind of dependencies you added, and you checked in the code. Instead of you checking, sometimes we don't check in the jar files. What do? We will give an opportunity for other developer, instead of you checking in your jar file or dependency modules, because it can unnecessarily eating the SVN or whatever source versioning control space. I don't need to install my dependencies. I'm leaving it to the developer who is going to install this project on his local machine, or who is going to check out the project on his local workspace. You just need to run a command saying that npm install. So if the package.json file is available in your project, automatically those dependencies, whatever you mentioned with the version number, that will be installed locally in your project. What is the advantage? I just mentioned. It doesn't eat up your SVN source versioning controls works memory space. Also, I'm an architect. Okay, I developed this project from a scratch. I define my dependencies. Okay, I need Express.js. I need Mongo database connection. I need passport. I need Express body parser. I need cookie parser. I need Express session. These are all my dependencies. I mentioned what is the version to be used in this particular project. So I checked in my code, but I didn't check in my dependencies. And I asked someone saying that, can you check out this project locally and start working on it? So when you check out the project, the first thing what I supposed to do is, you need to run npm install command from the root directory of the folder where you have a package.json file. When you run that, automatically it downloads all the dependencies. You don't need to do it manually one by one. So how do you do that is, they are going to explain it here. Then npm install hyphen save package name. This adds the package name to the package.json file. Okay, how do you create this package.json file? We will see it in next 2 minutes. Okay, you can also manually enter the name of the package and the version of the package module or a dependency which you are going to use in your package.json file. Let me complete how to create a package.json file first of all. Okay. To install an npm package globally, just run npm install -g package. That's what I explained, and the package name. Okay. Uh, to update or uninstall globally, let us say I want to uninstall this express.js whatever I install. How do I do that? There is a express.js available already, the dependency. I want to uninstall. Uninstall npm uninstall express. It will uninstall that dependency. Just do a reload, refresh. Do you see that express is there? It's removed completely. Same. If you want to do update to the passport latest version, you can say update npm update express. This command executes locally only. If it is a global, you just need to say -g. Any questions on that? Let me know. Okay. So most often when globally installing a package, you would need to root access. To install a global packages, you need a root access. On the Windows command, the following command will open the command line as an administrator. How do you open a command line in an administrator mode? Just go to the command prompt exe file, just right click and say open as administrator. That will do. Another alternative for Windows which will come in handy is still is installing some other commands line alternative. If you want to do, you can go for another alternative of command line interfaces. You can use it, but I never use it. I just use command prompt. For Linux, Unix, Mac, sudo command you need to run. Sudo for admin access. Sudo is the one which you are supposed to use it. Okay. How do you create a package.json file? You just need to understand before you go to the objects in JavaScript. So here from your package.json module root level, you can just say that a file name package.json. This is one way. You can manually create it. Okay. Murali is asking a question that when to use update. Let us say today you install some Express passport. What is the current version of this package? You can see it 0.32. This is a package.json file for the passport module. So passport is another module. They have package.json file, all those information. So currently you are using 0.32 version, same version. This is called same version, major version, minor version, and the bug fixes version, whatever it may be, the patches. So there is a new update available that is called 1.0.0. What do you do? How do you get them into your local? By running npm update command. Is that clear? To you want to get to update latest one, you just go for update. Okay, fine. Okay. So this is all about your package.json file. Package.json, I will explain how to create a package.json file tomorrow in the module 2. Just understand the package.json file. Package.json file has a name of the package. You can give any name, single case. You should not have a capital letters, and you should not have a spaces, all those things. Just give a short name so that it is very easy to identify in registry. So if I go to the registry and say passport, you see this one, right? Same way, make sure your module name is very shorter, don't have a lengthy name, and you should not have a capital letter spaces also. And the version number, description, keyword, the keywords, right? When you search this module in your registry, npm registry, that will be helpful. You can go and see passport in registry and you see these keywords are available. If I say auth, the passport is also available for search. Just go and say that passport. So do you see this? The keywords here: express, connect, authentication. If I say authentication here, maybe you get a passport also somewhere at the bottom. That is the help of the keywords when you search for something in the registry. The next page is also there. You can go and check. So those keywords will be helpful for searching your package in the registry. Description is something different. Author, who is the author of this particular package? and his email ID. Where do you submit your bugs if something goes wrong? All those information. Bugs, licensing under MIT license. This is available. Okay, all those information and dependencies. So here, if you observe, this passport currently has a dependency of passport strategy and pass modules, some other module. So that information we can see it here in the package.json file. So person whoever wants this passport, they can just say npm install. Daddy, I got this. Yeah. One more question from Gayatri. From where we will get the data in the package.json file for the API? That's what I want to show you. When you run a command call in the module 2, if you go to Node.js course, there is a simple command npm install or node install, then it will create a package.json file for you. So tomorrow we'll be covering about packages and modules. So they explained about a package.json, what all you need to do with all those things. One second guys, I'm checking for the command npm init. Okay, so now go to your current project. Here you are there, right? So what are we going to do? Remove this index.js file. Now you don't have a package.json file available. I'll remove this, whatever I added. Okay, now I want to create a manifesto file for my project. What I need to do? npm init. Remember that command npm init initializing. What it is asking? The module name. I would say December batch 2015 module 1. Okay. Enter. Version number. I want to go with same version whatever we have. Otherwise you can say 0.0.1. Description. This is sample demo created for Node.js December 2015 batch. Entry point. What is my main index file? It is index.js only. I will leave it. If you want to change it, you can change it. Test command. If you want to perform any testing, you will be defining your test run scripts, right? That time which command you want to run it. Right now I'll leave it because we haven't discussed. Git repository. Where is your Git repository? Right now leave it. Keywords. You can say Edureka 2015 December 2015 Node.js, something like that. Okay, remove this 2015 in between. Something I'm giving keyword. Okay, now license. You want under which license you want to release this model? Tomorrow I will discuss all those things. Don't worry. Now it is asking. I'm creating a package.json file for you. Is this okay, or you want to modify? I would say yes. Now if you do a refresh here, you have a package.json file created for you automatically. Is this clear, Gayatri? And dependencies. Let's say I want to install npm install hyphen save express. I'm installing a new package that will automatically updated in dev dependencies. Currently dev dependencies are dependencies are empty here. Only passport it has. Now if I'm installing a new module, that should get reflected here because I have used a argument called option called hyphen save apart from installation. So now do a refresh here. So if you see express got added and same entry got added here with version number. So if I check in this code into SVN and I can remove this node underscore module, okay, like this, I can remove it and check in my SVN changes. Okay, after checking in, let's say you are a person who checked out the project. Now you need to get all these dependencies. What are you supposed to do? You just need to run npm install command. You don't need to say npm install express passport one by one. When you say npm install, automatically all these dependencies are downloaded again. What is advantage of? You are saving the space and you know which version to be downloaded on your end because we are mentioning version number with patch release also. Is that clear, Gayatri? Now two dependencies are added here. Do a refresh and see. Added. If I send this project to you, you should be able to add it. Tomorrow we will discuss what exactly all these things, what are the other properties we have, how they are helpful in the module 2. Okay, so objects in JavaScript. As I said, this course is targeted the first day. Since Node.js is a JavaScript, we need to understand how many ways we can create an object, so that in future when you develop a event-driven programming, we need to understand how the object-oriented concept works in JavaScript, and how many ways you can create objects in JavaScript also is very, very important, so that it helps for you to develop an enterprise application. What is an object in JavaScript? A group or a collection of properties and attributes end of the day. Okay. A properties or attributes are nothing but name value pairs. In some cases, value is function, property equal to method. Okay, we do like this, properties and methods all the same. Object dot name property or object name in within array property name. We can do like this. How do you access the object properties? There are multiple ways. You can just say object dot property name, or you can say object of property name, like how you access your structure key value page. Enumerating all properties. Yes, you have an object with you. If you want to loop through properties, you can use for each enhanced for loop. Creating a simple object. How do you create an object? Where house equal to new object, house dot color equal to green, house dot number of rooms equal to 5. This is one way of creating an object by using a JavaScript root level object. Okay, there are multiple ways. Literal notation of to define an object, where treehouse equal to literal. This is a curly braces I started, and I have a property called material, and I have a value called wood. Height 8 feet, tree name something value, color natural something, break house a function. Inside object you can have properties and methods even inside your literal object. Comma separation is the, when you use literal object, we do separate the properties and methods with a comma separation. Okay, and here the name of the property colon and right side is a value or it's a function. Clear? This is one way. Using a constructor function to define object. Okay, in JavaScript we don't have a class concept. How do you create a objects? We need to use object creation and the function itself. How do you create a function? This is how. Function treehouse, and which is taking three arguments called name, tree, color. Okay, and why we are using this? If I create an object to this particular function, that this becomes to the current instance of the object. If I don't use this new keyword and create an object and directly call this function, this belongs to the window object. Okay, now if I want to create a constructor in JavaScript, how do you do that? Create a function called like this. I'm changing the example here. Function person. This is my constructor. Okay, or a method you can call it. This is not a constructor, and I have a name of the person, date of birth of the person, gender of the person, passing it. Okay, then I can say this dot name equal to the name which you get it, this dot date of birth equal to the date of birth which you get it, this dot gender equal to the gender object which you get it. Okay, now I go where p equal to new person, name you can say John, comma, date of birth is something you can say 20/02/1986 something, and gender is male. Right, now here when I say new person, it is creating a constructor and giving me an object. This is one way. That is what they are talking about here. Okay, treehouse. Use the new keyword to create as many as treehouse object you want. You can create n number of objects like that. By convention, start constructor function name with capital letter. That's what they are suggesting it. Okay. So anybody has any doubts so far? If your guys are new, let me know. These are basics guys. Today we are going to cover basics. Okay. Objects in JavaScript, understanding the prototypical inheritance. So every function gets a prototype property default called prototype. So in JavaScript, we don't have a class concept. Okay. So by default, a function is the one which we are going to use to create an object. So every function has a property called prototype. By default you will get it. On that he can have inheritance concepts implemented. When using constructor method to create a new object, you can assign properties or methods to the proper prototype of the constructor function. So here I gave the same example treehouse, right? And till the constructor, the function is there is no change. Only change is treehouse dot prototype dot owner. What are we doing here? Understand. So I have a person object, person class or object whatever, and this I'm saying prototype dot get name. Setters and getters I'm writing. Return this dot name. Okay. Same way. Here you can say okay, add person something. I'm giving something, guys. Don't get confused. The method name. Console statement dot log person added to database successfully. You see this? So what am I doing? I have an object. Okay, I created it, but these parameters are inside the object. The prototype, the property which I have used on the person object and attaching a method, these methods are globally shared whenever you create an object. Let us say I want to create one more person object. This is P1. Okay, this is P1, this is P2, person 2. Person 2 name is David. His date of birth is something 1999 something. Okay, or you can say Sue, and she is a female. Now tell me what happened. So each time when you create a constructor, this much memory is being consumed by this object. But the shared methods get name, add person should not be put inside the here itself. If you want to put this dot get name, you would have done like this. If you put inside the same method, this will consume more memory. Instead of I doing like that, what I have done, I removed this method because if I create a two objects here, the two objects two times this method gets created. Instead of I doing that, I added it a prototypical inheritance level. Automatically the properties get shared between the objects whenever you create a multiple objects. So the get name add person is a shareable methods between two objects. Is that clear? Any questions? You guys are there? Come on, guys. Quick response. Yeah. Yes. Good. Yeah, Murli. You can ask the question. I think Murli has some question. Previous screen or the code? This one? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I have a function. This is nothing but creating an object. Okay. This dot name, whatever it may be. Now what am I doing here? I'm creating two objects. These methods I would like to share between two instances. Now if you try call by reference console console.log p1 dot get name. Try this and see. And p2 dot get name. You see that? Yeah. So that is how it gets shared. That this instance belongs to the object which you are referring to. Prototype inheritance is providing an opportunity for you to share the objects, methods properties. Yes, common method. So this will not be created, consumes the memory or occupies memory for each and every object. Okay, fine. Clear? Gayatri said she understood. Yeah. I can put inside also. There is no issue. This dot get name equal to function. Okay, this dot return. Sorry, this dot name. What are we going to return? In this case, if I create a multiple objects for this person object, it creates a separate. It consumes whatever memory occupied by this get name. Instead of I wasting the memory, I did it in common shareable area. Okay. Now this is almost like your Java bean. In Java, you have a setters, getters, and the properties of the Java class. This is almost similar like that. But JavaScript prototype analysis is giving an option, another opportunity for prototype. Okay. Murali said he is clear. Going to the next one. This is all about like that. And objects in JavaScript, object.create. Okay. There is another way wherein you can create an object using object.create. I think this is the latest one which is being there in the market. It's not like your old object.create concept. The reason why JavaScript is so amazing, freedom. Using object.create option, you can create one object and do like this. So you have a base object, class A, okay, and you are creating class B using object.create from class A, like that. Okay, this is one way creating an object, because JavaScript has dynamic object extension. You see that? So here I can have a function person, whatever the property, and where student equal to what is that, pers object dot create person, I can say. So now student gets extended from person, the same object get created. I can have student properties my own, also I can access the properties which are there in the person. Clear? Let me know if you guys have any doubts. Okay, using cloning. Okay, there is one more option. Yes, that means student is object which got created from the person object. Okay, so using cloning, let us use utility library. Okay, underscore some library they're talking about. If you guys are interested, you can just go and cross check it. One really cool utility function in this library is underscore extend, using this underscore concepts. There is a library I think available, it's not a framework. Copy all of the properties in the source object over to the destination object. What is source, what is destination? Let us say person extends, student extends from a person object. Then in that case, how are we going to solve this problem using the clone object? And return the destination object. Okay, where treehouse name something, default value color green, do something, a function. Where John's treehouse equal to underscore extend. Okay, treehouse treehouse is what, source object, destination object, and also we are adding one more property here. So destination object, currently it is a John's treehouse which doesn't have anything. Treehouse is a source. From this source we are creating a destination object. Along with that, we are putting a shareable property called owner. That is how it gets extended. I'm sure you will not be using this concept much in your real-time example. Underscore is a library which is used to do object-oriented concept, using that means extending from one object to another object. Super to subclass is extending from super. It's a library. It's not JavaScript thing, I think. Okay. Where are we? This is done. This is done. Prototypical inheritance. Yes, this is what I explained just now. Okay, prototypical inheritance. Now, closures. I don't know how many of you understood about the closures. Closures are very, very important in JavaScript, and it will be helpful for you to implement encapsulation concept. Closures helps you to write good code. That's the reason why they said it's a good code. It implements a encapsulation mechanism, hiding the properties or methods, whatever it may be. A closure is created when a function accesses a variable outside its immediate scope. Just observe here. Ideally, I have a program.js file. Inside we have a variable called a equal to global variable. I have a function called foo where b equal to 3. What is this b equal to 3? This variable scope is limited to this foo function. I can access this inside the foo function, but I cannot access the variable b outside of the function foo. So this is called closure, the lexical scoping of it, or function. Where function bar, I have a variable called c, wherein okay, I can access c inside my bar function. I can also access the variable b inside my bar function. Okay, so where do we use this closures concept? Just observe. I have a function person. Okay, going forward, inside a function is also called closures. Function get name, something like this. I'm giving an example. Okay, so I have a variable called counter equal to 0. Here I have a variable called name. Okay, I can pass name argument also, and I can assign it. Okay, and this you can say this dot or you can say where return name back. What is this? Name is already defined. Okay, you can say name. Name. Okay, so like this you can have a scoping of your names. Function inside a function, it's like classes inside inner classes, right? You have a concept same way. And let us say I defined an object where factory, you can say like this, person equal to a literal object. Okay, so here I have a concept called properties. um, Not this. If it is a Angular JS, I would have done it in a different way. I have a person object. Okay. Inside function, you have a property called get name, or you can say delete person. Right. Insert person function. This is one, and now another one is delete person function, like this. And inside delete, you can have another function. Okay, delete record from DB. Now tell me, if I expose this person object to outside or anybody who has an access, what are the properties they can access from person object and what they can't access? I'm talking about this person object 14. You guys are there? Hello? Yes. Yeah. All the properties will be accessed. That's what I'm asking. What properties are accessible in this from person object? I can access insert person. I can ask delete person. Can I access delete record from DB? Is it my question? You cannot, because this is a private property inside this function. You cannot access that. Yeah. Delete record from DB cannot be accessible. Like that, you can implement what you call closures in JavaScript. You can do data hiding concepts, encapsulation. Some more exciting JavaScript closures you can observe here. Example, function construct treehouse. I have a where owner equal to Mary, function cut wood. Return owner plus go and cut some wood. Okay, that property is what Mary go and cut wood, whatever that property they are printing. So construct treehouse, because of easy of functional programming in JavaScript, similar functions can easily be reused. Many utility libraries are available for use. Highland.js _.js libraries are available if you really want to use them. Okay, but we will never use them in the example. At least recap. Okay, this is what you guys learned it for today. I just wanted to recap what you have learned it. An object is a collection of properties, attributes having a name and value. These values can be functions also, when so they are called methods. Literal notation for objects in JavaScript, we learned how to create objects in a literal notation, how to create object using prototypal inheritance, how to create object using create, how to create object using clone, avoid constructors using factory instead. So what they are saying is, in JavaScript there are many ways of creating objects. One is a constructor notation. What they are saying is, as much as possible, start stopping creating an object using constructor notation. Use factory notation. How do you create a factory notation object? Like this, as I just mentioned. Okay, function person. Okay, where person object equal to, this is a object, person object dot get name equal to function. Do something whatever you want. Person object dot set name function, and you can have function delete person. End of the day, what are you going to return? The person obj. People, whoever creates an object for this person, they should be able to access this person object dot get name set name, but they cannot access delete person. This is a data hiding concept or encapsulation concept. So now if I create a person object, console.log new person. Okay, if I say set name get name, I should be able to access. If you want to guys see, you can see. Let me create an object where p equal to new person. Okay, p dot set name equal to date something. Set name receives a variable name. I can say this dot name equal to name which you receive, return this dot name, something I'm creating guys, don't get confused. P dot set name is done. P dot set name is a function, so you do like this. It's not okay. Now you say P dot get name, done. Now if I say P dot delete person, I should not have an access. This is also a function. Print something console.log statement. Person will be deleted from database. Now go and run this example and see. You saw that delete person is not a function. You don't have a rights to access it. Only you can do setters and getters, because these are public properties. These are private properties. Okay. We'll explain with the better examples in future. There are examples when you deal with project. Okay. Uh, why we did not, Murali is asking a question that why we did not get an alert in Eclipse. Why we need to get an alert here? I'm not using any alert here. You saw the console statement, right? This is giving an error. I haven't put any alert statements here, Murli. That's how you know you didn't get any alert. Is that clear, Murli? Why warning is required? This is runtime it is calling. Why do you get a warning here? If it is a compile time error, yes, you would have seen exclamation saying that alert or something. This is a runtime binding. So P is an object on that you are calling. Till you reach this line, you never know P is there or not. If you are trying to do something, this dot underscore, maybe you get an alert saying that I could not find underscore name where it is. Yeah, Murli is clear. Okay. Shankar Krishnan is asking the person class with two properties you mentioned, insert person and delete person. How does closure is mapped there? What does that mean? These are exposed on the object which I am returning it back. These are public properties. The person, the outside programming, whoever is trying to access person is return object call by reference. That is the reason why the closures concept is working here. Call by reference. So only they have an access of returned object. The returned object is person object. We are not returning anything related to this, which is attached to person object. Is that clear, Krishna? What are you returning? What are you exposing? That is the main thing. Okay, it's like your public protected concepts, whatever you have it in global public level. But this thing not attached to anything. What you could do is you can expose another method saying that person obj dot delete one person. I'm giving a different name function. If you provide me the person ID, I can delete from DB. Delete person from DB. So now if you want to expose this method, yes, you could do it from here, deleting a person, but you cannot call this. What happened, guys? You could do this. What is another advantage we are gaining here? Now from internally you can call this method. What is the advantage? You are not exposing and you are keeping your code on safe side. Nobody can call the logic which is there to delete the record from a database. Only they have an option of passing the ID. Okay, you cannot directly call this and delete record from a database. You can make sure that yes, if session is there active and if ID is matching or something, then delete it. Call that. Otherwise, don't call like that. That is how you do data hiding concepts. Okay, perfect. So any more questions, guys? Okay, I think Krishnan is not clear. Let me go back. Uh, the previous example, when you say this one or the other one, which one? This example or the previous example? Okay, let me go to the code. Maybe you are asking about the code. This one? Okay, you can send me an ML if you need it, but here the closures is nothing but your scoping. Okay, so this whatever you are having it here, the inside the scope you cannot access outside. Same way here, nobody can call your function directly cut word from outside. That is all about the closures. It is all about encapsulation. Only they can come through this method. How do they call it? You can just refer the closures, you will understand. There are different mechanisms in closures. The one example I gave you, the exposing the call by reference, factory notation. Okay, okay. That is all about the today's session, guys. You guys have any questions? Okay. If no questions, I will wait for 2 more minutes and close the session. You can send your feedback, whatever you have. That's all. Thank you.